What if everything Harry believed about his fairy tale romance with Meghan wasn't true? What if the love he thought was unconditional, special, and chosen for who he is, was never real? According to royal biographer Tom Bower, sources close to the investigation claim there's evidence suggesting that Meghan didn't fall for Harry first. Instead, insiders allege that she initially set her sights on Prince Andrew, the older, more established royal, and only turned to Harry when her first attempts allegedly failed. Documents, testimonies, and research collected by Bower reportedly reveal a level of planning, strategy, and calculated social maneuvering that, if true, completely upends the narrative of a love story built on mutual devotion. And the shocking part is not just that Harry might have been a backup, but that this revelation allegedly comes with credible evidence that Harry has reportedly seen, and that is said to have shaken him to his core. For years, Prince Harry believed he was different, that he had been chosen not because of his title, his royal lineage, or the spotlight that always followed him, but because of who he was as a person. He clung to that belief through every scandal, every family conflict, every public betrayal, and it became the foundation for some of the biggest decisions of his life. Leaving the UK, distancing himself from his brother William, burning bridges with members of the royal family, and building a new life in California with Meghan. In Harry's mind, he had found someone who genuinely valued him beyond the crown, someone who loved him for the man behind the title. That belief justified his sacrifices, gave him purpose in a world of scrutiny, and convinced him that he had finally found a love worth defending against all odds. But according to sources familiar with Bower's research, this foundation has been violently shaken, revealing cracks in a story Harry believed unconditionally, leaving him to confront the possibility that the woman he thought chose him might have had another path in mind all along. According to Bower's investigation, Meghan allegedly had her sights on Prince Andrew long before she met Harry. Sources claim that she understood the structure of British elite society, who was accessible, who could be approached, and who could potentially serve as a gateway into the royal family. Andrew, insiders say, fit that profile perfectly. Allegedly, Meghan cultivated relationships, positioned herself at social events he attended, and leveraged intermediaries to increase the likelihood of introductions, all with the ultimate goal of gaining proximity to a senior royal. When these attempts allegedly failed to yield the connection or commitment she desired, insiders suggest she shifted focus to Harry, the younger, more emotionally vulnerable prince, who was grieving, seeking validation, and potentially more receptive to romance. The implication is explosive. The man who believed he was chosen for himself may have been, from the very beginning, the second choice, the backup plan after her first strategy reportedly did not work. Long before the royal wedding, Meghan was allegedly navigating elite social circles in London with one goal in mind: access to royalty. Sources suggest she strategically appeared at gatherings, charity events, and private clubs where Prince Andrew was known to be present, often using connections with friends and intermediaries to gain entry into spaces that would have been otherwise inaccessible. Allegedly, she cultivated relationships with women in Andrew's social circle, asked about his schedule and interests, and subtly indicated her desire for introductions. Those familiar with her activities claim she appeared focused, methodical, and intentional, almost as if every conversation, every smile, every handshake was calculated to position herself in proximity to the royal she hoped to meet. It was not random social climbing, but allegedly a clear, long-term plan to pursue a specific target. And when Andrew allegedly did not reciprocate her attention or advance the connection, she reportedly pivoted her strategy to Harry, a younger prince whose vulnerabilities made him more approachable and susceptible to influence. Bower's investigation reportedly uncovered multiple forms of evidence, from eyewitness testimonies to documented communications, suggesting a deliberate pattern in Meghan's approach to royalty. Sources claim he has documented occasions when Meghan allegedly appeared at private events, specifically attended by Andrew, facilitated introductions through intermediaries, and expressed clear interest in meeting him. When those avenues allegedly failed, the same strategy was allegedly redirected toward Harry, with his emotional vulnerabilities noted and exploited. According to insiders, This documentation is far more than rumor. It includes detailed testimonies from people within elite social networks, communications revealing awareness of Harry's personality and emotional state, and evidence of orchestrated encounters designed to make him fall in love. For Harry, seeing this material reportedly shattered the narrative he held onto for years, leaving him to question whether the love he cherished was ever genuine or simply the successful execution of a calculated plan. Reactions within the palace are said to be complex. Senior advisors, who allegedly harbored suspicions about Meghan's earlier connections with Andrew, reportedly feel vindicated now that Bower has allegedly provided documentation. Prince William, according to insiders, knew about Meghan's alleged pursuit of Andrew long before Harry did and reportedly tried to warn his brother. But Harry, feeling protective and perhaps blinded by affection, accused William of jealousy and prejudice, refusing to see the warning signs. Meanwhile, Andrew's position is complicated. He allegedly recognized Meghan's attempts but never considered her a serious romantic prospect, and now feels a mixture of relief and discomfort knowing that his rejection may have inadvertently redirected her focus toward Harry. Within this web of family tension and palace politics, the alleged revelation reportedly highlights fault lines that have existed for years, leaving insiders claiming the royal family faces a mix of vindication, frustration, and inevitable public scrutiny. Behind the alleged pursuit, sources point to key figures who allegedly facilitated Meghan's access to royalty. Marcus Anderson is said to have been a central strategist, someone who understood the nuances of elite British society, who could identify events that would provide introductions to Andrew and later Harry, and who allegedly orchestrated opportunities that appeared organic but were carefully planned. Another alleged factor is the Soho House network, a web of influential connectors who allegedly helped position attractive women near powerful men in social settings, designed to create relationships that serve multiple agendas. According to insiders, these networks allegedly understood Meghan's ambitions, first helped her gain access to Andrew's orbit, and later ensured her strategic pivot to Harry was successful. The suggestion is clear. If true, Meghan's relationships with royalty were not solely organic, but allegedly guided by advisors and networks with precise knowledge of how to manipulate elite social systems. Bower reportedly has a vault of unpublished materials that could completely upend Meghan's public narrative. Sources claim he conducted hundreds of interviews, documenting people who witnessed Meghan's social climbing, her positioning near royalty, and the intermediaries involved in orchestrating her connections. Allegedly, this includes communications, names of individuals who facilitated introductions, and patterns of deliberate targeting that were too sensitive or legally risky to publish. Insiders suggest that this vault reveals how Meghan allegedly identified vulnerabilities, researched targets, and positioned herself to appear as exactly what her intended prince needed. The material, if true, is said to be highly damaging and a permanent record of a strategy that Harry reportedly only now fully understands, a strategy that casts doubt on the authenticity of the fairy tale he believed he was living. According to sources, Harry's reaction to this alleged evidence is profound. He reportedly feels fury, not at Bower, who uncovered the documentation, but at himself for believing in a love that may have been strategically engineered. The revelation allegedly shakes every foundation of his decisions, from leaving the UK and the royal family to the sacrifices he made for their life in California. Insiders claim Harry is grappling with questions about every intimate moment he shared with Meghan, wondering whether tears, vulnerability, and declarations of love were genuine or calculated. The realization that he may have been Plan B, an alternative after Andrew allegedly proved unapproachable, has reportedly left him trapped between defending his marriage publicly and privately facing an emotional reality he cannot ignore. When Meghan allegedly failed to gain Andrew's attention, insiders suggest her strategy was swift and calculated. Harry, grieving the loss of his mother and seeking affirmation, reportedly became the focus almost immediately, as intermediaries allegedly guided her to someone more receptive, more malleable, and more vulnerable. Sources claim she studied his habits, emotional state, and social position to create the perfect approach, turning a seemingly organic romance into a precise execution of her objectives. Allegedly, Harry's natural openness and trust made him an ideal target, and this alleged pivot demonstrates a level of foresight that insiders describe as both strategic and deeply manipulative. Despite Bauer's alleged findings, Meghan reportedly denies targeting Andrew and frames the claims as attacks from a family and media unable to accept a strong, ambitious woman marrying into royalty. Sources close to Harry claim she publicly defends her image as a loving wife, while privately being aware of the implications of Bauer's evidence. This contrast between her public narrative and the alleged strategic documentation creates tension, leaving insiders claiming that Harry is forced to reconcile what he sees in the vault with the image of love and choice he has defended for years. The fallout, insiders suggest, is both deeply personal and highly public. Harry reportedly struggles with the knowledge that sacrifices he made, estrangement from family, media battles, and relocation, may have been for someone whose primary goal was access to royal status rather than genuine love. Palace insiders allegedly observe the complexity. Harry cannot publicly acknowledge the truth without risking his marriage and private life, yet he cannot ignore the weight of the evidence. Meanwhile, the media and social networks are reportedly primed to dissect every revelation, amplifying the emotional stakes and placing Harry in a nearly impossible position between loyalty, love, and truth. At the heart of it all, insiders claim Harry faces a devastating reality. He was allegedly Plan B, a fallback after Andrew proved unavailable, and everything he believed about his romance may have been part of a premeditated strategy. Sources suggest he questions every aspect of their relationship, from the authenticity of emotional intimacy to the sincerity of public declarations of love. The fury, heartbreak, and betrayal reportedly stem not from external criticism, but from realizing that the foundation of his decisions and sacrifices was potentially built on someone else's plan. For a prince whose identity is intertwined with love, legacy, and trust, this revelation is said to shake him more profoundly than any public scandal he has faced. In the end, the story, if true, reveals a prince confronting a love that may never have been his alone, a life-altering decision made under the shadow of strategy rather than genuine affection, and a foundation of identity and trust shaken to its core. Sources claim Harry continues to defend his marriage publicly, even as he privately grapples with the implications of being Plan B, the alternate in someone else's calculated plan. It's a story of ambition, vulnerability, and the devastating consequences when love and strategy collide. A reminder that even princes can face betrayals that reach beyond romance, into the very heart of who they believe they are. For more insider revelations, subscribe to Royal Unfiltered and stay tuned for updates that continue to peel back the layers of the royal story you thought you knew.